We've been able to scale past 6-figure months. And when you do that as a service entrepreneur, it's not like you're selling a product. You're selling your time, your energy, your everything. And not only that, that of your team. So if you sell that much, you also need to be able to serve without breaking behind the scenes. There are a lot of people that are built like this, type A, go, go, go. And you feel like if you're not working your hardest, you're not doing your best. So that has been something I have struggled with my whole life and I still work on. For me, it's not about growing as fast as we can. It's about growing sustainably and also enjoying the journey, because if we can't enjoy our lives now, when will we be able to? Hello.
Hi. Oh my.
Yep, 2 Dobermans. Come on in. Well, welcome to our house.
Thanks for inviting us.
Would you like something to drink?
Yeah. What do you have?
Well, I heard you like bubble tea.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
I have some bubble tea for you.
Oh, thank you for the surprise.
Alrighty.
What flavors do you have here?
Well, this one is a taro coconut and the other one is sakura, which I think is a cherry blossom. I think that's the one you like.
You know me so well. Let's do some cheers.
Cheers. wait, do it again. Our hands are in the way. Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. This is going to be fun.
Yes. How long have you been living in Texas?
We have been here for almost, I'm going to say, probably about 4.5 years now.
Wow.
Raven, come here. Come on.
And how many fur babies do you have in the house?
We actually have 4 fur babies. So Raven is our smaller Doberman, and Watson is here. He's over there in the living room.
Chilling on the couch.
And then we have 2 kitty cats that are upstairs. So full disclosure, at some point, dogs, cats may be jumping into our lap. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're just going to roll with it.
Yes, exactly. So you've been to many places. How is it like living in Texas?
Oh, I love Texas. I think, my favorite place to live may have been Florida, just as far as like the weather. We moved to Texas for my husband's job. He works in operations management here, and it's a great place to live. We love our neighborhood. Basically, when we were looking for a house, JP really wanted this house, but it was kind of a mess. So we painted every wall, we painted every ceiling, not ourselves, we hired painters. Did every door, every molding a new color, and then renovated the kitchen, which I could show you a before picture. But the before, it was like a 2-tone kitchen. It wasn't the most beautiful, so we did new countertops, new backsplash. We put in a whole bunch of shandies, which I'm sure you'll see throughout. My husband always asks me how many chandeliers are enough, and I always say there's never enough chandeliers. You can never answer enough. So this is our place. So I will take your drink for you upstairs.
Thank you.
And that way you won't have to take it up the stairs. So let's go check it out. One thing I've learned, we have a gate here because Dobermans. I always let them go up first. And if you're looking for perfection in my house, you will never find it because of the 2 pups. Come on, guys, let's go upstairs. There's always a scuff on the wall or whatever, but that's okay. Oh, and never mind this.
What's that for?
We're actually having a photo shoot tomorrow, so I'm really excited for that. Those are some of my clothes that I'm getting ready. And we have another video that you'll be able to check out soon about prepping for a branded styled shoot. So come on in.
A little bit of a sneak peek into Erica's office.
Yeah. We have it a little bit moved around just so we can get our camera angles today. We actually have another video too about how I renovated this space. So we will let you know when that one pops out.
And I'm going to put this down to place it.
Okay. Just get cozy.
Yeah.
So my husband always jokes about these chairs that they're so big, they're basically sofas, but it's so that you have a room for a Doberman. on each chair. Can you guys turn around and lay down?
So welcoming.
Good boy, Watson. Lay down, buddy. Raven.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, there she goes.
So cute.
So that's why these chairs are so big. So there's room for one person and one Doberman in each chair.
There are guest stars.
Yeah, there are guest stars. We're just going to let them do what they want.
Yeah.
So Larissa works with us. I was really excited to have her visiting. She's down from Canada, actually. Word on the street is that Larissa is relocating to another country.
Oh, yeah.
So that other country is even farther away.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to bring her down before she did that so we can spend some time together. And for our photo shoot tomorrow. So welcome to our place. This is our office. This is basically our headquarters. We have a lot of really fun videos coming out, by the way. So
can't wait for you guys. So I'm really glad to do this interview with you because our team sees who you are behind the scenes. We know all the ins and outs. And we wanted to make sure that we bring this to the audience.
Oh, I appreciate that. And I think it is really fun. I think because our company is so busy, I'm still working on the balance of getting out in front of the camera a bit more, doing new YouTube stuff, trying to do more like video content. So I appreciate you doing this with me because I like to hide behind the curtain, I have to say.
Well, I actually think that's one of your strengths is that you're able to present yourself so genuinely in front of the screen and behind the scenes as well. So I really want to dive into that today.
Okay, well, I'm in your hands. Whatever you want to ask, go ahead.
Well, let's start with the very beginning. So tell us more about your journey as an entrepreneur and your business.
So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey for sure, but I've done a lot in my lifetime. My first job, like my first job ever, teaching kids how to type and use software and use computers. So that was really fun. So in college, there was actually a moment where I started as a theater major. I was in a band and I had a moment where I thought I was going to be a famous rock star, you know, like any musician does. So I dropped out of college for a little bit to kind of just figure out what I was doing with my life. And I realized that I had to support myself fast because I had made that decision very quickly. I actually played the African drums. So I played the drum, I played the keyboards, sang backup vocals. When I was in high school, I was in a band called the Acoustic Angels all throughout like middle school and high school.
Yeah.
We actually sang for Celine Dion in her dressing room one time. My friend Lisa, shout out to Lisa, and I did that. Opened for Guster, who at the time was a famous band in the alternative space. A lot of you might not know that name, but they were really fantastic. So we did that, opened for them. And then into college, it was with a different band. And I did the drums, backup vocals. I sang some of my music on the side and then did keyboards and stuff like that. So it was fun. And meanwhile, to support that artistic piece, I ended up getting a job selling cars. So that was my first job as a semi-young adult at that time. Because basically what I was looking at is if I'm going to make as much money as I can to support myself, pay my bills, I need to be doing something that's not hourly. At that point, I even knew that. I'm like, I cannot do hourly. I need to do something where the smarter I work, the more I make. And in fact, I was so young looking that I had to go and get all these suits to wear to work. I went to Zales Jeweler and bought real big rings to wear so that I would look older, which was really funny. And I was the only lady, so to speak, in a man's world, right? So all the car salesmen, all the finance guys, as you know, except for the front desk girl, everybody was dudes. So it was a very funny moment to go. And I was selling luxury cars from the get-go. Infinities was the first car that I sold. And I think one of the biggest things for me in the beginning, as an 18, 19-year-old selling $80,000, $100,000 cars, I mean, that's no joke. Right away, I really had to learn how to be professional, how to be taken seriously, how to appear older than I was, how to keep it calm, cool under pressure, and all of those things. But it was a lot of pressure for a young person, but I did really well with it. And then sadly, that was when 9/11 happened. As most of you remember, everything stopped. No one was buying cars. No one was really buying anything. The whole world was just shook by what happened. And that's when I made the decision to go back to school. And so when I went back to school for the second time, I switched my degree from theater to business management. So I actually think that all of that experience was very, very valuable to me. So young people, sometimes you're not ready to go to school yet when you first get out of high school. And so for me, I felt like that bit of space really gave me a new direction and a new understanding of something that now has been valuable to me to this day.
Wow. And that's amazing that you basically went through school, you worked at the same time, you got your degree, and then you went into business.
Yeah. So then as I was finishing my degree with my degree in business management, I moved from selling cars to furniture, did interior design and furniture sales and working on commission, and did that all the way through school.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I had like a 2-year hiatus into the world of Mary Kay. I did a lot of things related to sales very early on and was always more of a top performer, just always pushed my limits with that. And that's kind of how I got it started in the world of sales. And then out of college, I think I missed some of the design stuff that was involved with the interior design. My grandmother had always been in event planning. So I kind of wanted to bridge those worlds of design and planning and sales. And so I ended up being a wedding planner for a significant amount of time. That was my first business. Did the event planner thing. Within the first year, I was one of the top planners in my state, always able to charge industry-leading prices because of my experience with sales. Selling was never a challenge for me. And then when my daughter was born, I basically wanted to find a job where I could work from home and not travel as much because I was driving up to 40,000 miles per year and doing some really crazy event planning work. And so I just wanted to shift gears. And that was when I had the international wedding blog for 2 years at that time. I thought that was it for me. But as I started doing it, within about 2 years, we had readership in 171 countries. We had published over 3,000 professionals on the blog. But my clients were saying, I love you. I love working with you. I love your blog, but we're not closing any new business from being on your blog. And the reason we signed up to be here is for advertising and we want more clients. So then that's where I started to become a coach. And that was very accidental. That was not what I ever set out to do. But what started happening was I realized how much I loved my clients. We had a bunch of advertisers at that time, and I wanted them to get the results. And so I started coaching them for free, essentially at the beginning, just to see, okay, I see that we're sending you traffic. Where is it going? And then what happens from there? And so I helped them walk through their sales process. I worked on branding and website design. I did everything myself in the beginning. Me, myself, and I, it was all me. Did branding and websites, helped people with their sales process, went behind the scenes with them. And then we were getting insane results right away. So this is a longer story, but just to keep it short, transitioning out of the blog and then into the business that we have now, which we've been doing for about 7 years now. So, wow. And it was sort of like all of those things just led me back right to here. And I feel like every experience that I had was valuable.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was a long one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm so glad that our audience gets to really hear the journey.
Yeah.
What made you shift into entrepreneurship rather than just getting a job?
That's a really good question. I was never the type of person that was going to work for someone else. I feel like I was a very rebellious spirit, even as a young adult, and I just wanted to do my own thing. I never wanted to fit in a box. I always knew that I didn't fit in a traditional job setting, and I wanted to have freedom. So I wanted to be able to build something really big. I've always had a very big vision for our company. Even with the blog, that's where it started. I wanted to impact not just my local people or my local friends. I really wanted to impact entrepreneurs worldwide. So that's where it all started. It started with the blog. And then when I realized that there's a lot of people that can send traffic, but there's not a lot of people that can go behind the scenes and help people to book more business. And that's where that all switched for me. I'm a very free spirit. I like my own schedule, my own time. I like freedom.
And this is something that you talk about too, I see in your post, making sure that you have the freedom for yourself, because that's really living your life. I want to ask you is, I see all your posts on social media. You talk about self-care,
yeah,
a big one, and running a business at the same time.
Yeah.
So how do you find work-life balance between that?
Yeah. So why that is such an important piece to me is that it's something that I was lacking so much during my first two businesses. So in my first two businesses, I really struggled with self-care. I would call myself a for sure workaholic hustler. There are a lot of people that are built like this, type A, go, go, go. And you feel like if you're not working your hardest, you're not doing your best. So that has been something that I have struggled with my whole life and I still work on. I try to make sure that we're all working on that because that's a very important priority. I think entrepreneurship is hard. Life is hard. You get a lot of curveballs and it's very easy to put your health on the back burner. If we want to live as long as we can and be there for our families and the people we love, we have to take care of ourselves. I've gone through phases of just throwing myself into work and working as hard as I can just to get ahead. And I think that the more I've done that, the more I've realized how it's not the way. And what I learned having 6-figure months in sales for my own company, my own product, for everything that we offer in all of our services, is that there's a very different energy that goes into creating a 6-figure year and a 6-figure month. 6 figures per year, you can hustle for it and you can get there. But 6 figures per month, if you hustle for that, you can't keep up with it. You absolutely cannot. So there comes a point in time when you're scaling and you're pushing past that multiple 6-figure mark per year that you realize, I can't do this by hustling. There's no way that this is going to happen. And the only thing that you can do is focus on and prioritize strategy over hustle. So it's just like a brain shift that has to happen. You absolutely have to make that shift. And if you don't do it, at some point you will be capped out on what you can do with your business. And it's just something that I've learned and I try to teach people, because even if they haven't gotten to 6 figures per year yet, or they're trying to go for 6-figure years, you still have to break that habit at some point in order to get where you're going. And regardless of what your goal is, it's not healthy to be work, work, work all the time and not take care of yourself. So that's where that passion comes from.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you brought this up because entrepreneurship is a hard journey. Yeah. It's so many struggles. And I've heard you say before that the higher that you go, the more obstacles will come in your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a part of where we are right now with our business, is that very early on in this year and in the past few years, we've been able to scale past 6-figure months. And when you do that as a service entrepreneur, it's not like you're selling a product. You're selling your time, your energy, your everything. And not only that, that of your team. So if you sell that much, you also need to be able to serve without breaking behind the scenes. So that's been a very difficult struggle as a service entrepreneur to sort of crack that code of, how can we push the limits? How can we become 6-figure per month, 130K a month, 150K, 250K per month as a service business, not just a coach, not just having a program, not just having a product that we're selling, but actually doing the service behind the scenes. So that's something we've been navigating. And the majority of this year has been about rephrasing a lot of our offers for scalability. So even though we could have grown faster or we could have pushed harder, I made the conscious decision to scale back before we moved forward. Because if I did not do that, it would have gotten all of us, not just me, into the workaholic hustle zone again. So I've been very intentional with that. I think it's a conscious decision that has to be made. And it means that sometimes we don't grow as fast as we could. But at the end of the day, for me, it's not about growing as fast as we can. It's about growing sustainably and also enjoying the journey, because if we can't enjoy our lives now, when will we be able to? So tomorrow's never promised to anyone. So, and I've learned that so many times in my life with people leaving this earth too young. Like, you really do have to be here and live in the here and now and enjoy every moment as much as you can.
And you talk about gratefulness a lot as well.
Yeah.
On social media, I would say that is one of your core pillars.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's a quote, and I honestly don't remember who said it, but it says, be happy with what you have while you're working for what you want. And so I think in this entrepreneurial space, there's a lot of people who hustle for more and more and more revenue, more sales. You're always living in the future, pushing harder, trying to get that next thing. I just decided that I'm not doing that anymore. This is a lifelong journey my mission is a lifelong mission. So I'm going to be doing this one step at a time, but I want to enjoy it along the way too.
Yeah. And when did you first realize that you were making that shift from, I'm always going to be reaching for my goals, I have to do this, to now, I want to prioritize?
I actually think it came from chasing the 100K month. Because when I was at the 20K month, the 50K month, the 70K month, I was always chasing the 100K month. When I got to the 100K month and I realized what was required of me at that level is when I realized, okay, they always say new level, new devils. When you get there, you realize this is a lot. I was doing in 1 month what I used to do in 1 year sales-wise, and then have to take care of all of our clients, make sure everybody's happy. When you put that much pressure or that much volume on a business, you really find out where the cracks are immediately. Once I finally made it to that 100K mark is when I started to realize this is what I've always wanted. But now that I'm here, I realize it's a lot.
Right.
And so if I'm going to stay here and this is going to be my new normal, then we need to make changes because it can't be done this way. So I think that's when my mindset shifted. And now I try to teach my clients that no matter what, whether you're 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K, at the end of the day, it's a decision that has to be made to stop hustling, stop chasing the dollar, and to focus on alignment and making sure that you really enjoy what you do with your business and that you're enjoying the work you do with your clients. And two, paired with that is profitability. If you don't have the proper profit margins in place, what are you working for? And this is for service businesses specifically. It's very different for a product-based business. If you've got a product, you have a clear understanding of the margin. When you have a service and there's scope creep and you're trying to keep everybody happy, you realize very quickly that those margins can become very thin. If you're always trying to overdo it, if you're always trying to help people more, if you're always trying to put other people first, the profit margins can become thin very fast. So I think that dual realization of numbers are not everything. I could make more money having a 50K per month business. I can take away more than 100K if I structure my profitability right. At this point, I'm going to be focusing on 6-figure months plus because that's the level we're at now. But I'm also going to make sure that I'm aligned with the work we're doing. I like the way we're delivering our services. Our team is happy behind the scenes. Nobody's hustling or burning out. We have a solid team.
And to your point about the team, I've heard you say before that if you want to be a 6-7-figure plus entrepreneur, it's really hard to scale up to that if you're a solo entrepreneur.
Yes.
So how did you make that shift in your business when you were a solo entrepreneur? How did you realize that I need to scale, I need to add more team members?
That's awesome. So my first year as a business coach, I ran a program called Booked Like a Boss Bootcamp. I had 45 people in that program in the first year. It was a 6-week program, a boot camp to book more clients, to refine sales process, branding. There was a lot involved with it. And immediately I had people pop out that said, hey, I get this. This makes total sense to me, but can we work one-to-one? Like, I want more. So in the very beginning, it was that. And then as I started working with people one-on-one coaching, then they started asking, you keep talking about branding and website. Can you just do it for me? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And obviously, you know, so I want you to do it the way that you're telling me to do it. And so I started to take on branding, website design, private coaching clients in addition to the boot camp and the group coaching program. And very quickly, I realized there was no way that I could do it all.
Wow.
And then I had a great conversation with my best friend, Adrienne, and we had been working together for design for many years. When I was a wedding planner, she did all of our stationery. So in a way, she was branding the events that I was creating with stationery and paper product. And I just said, hey, I need help. I'm not sure if you're interested in branding and website design, but I kind of feel like you would be really good at this. And so she jumped in and we started doing that together. I had to hire an assistant at one point, and then that assistant didn't work out, sadly. But then that led me to Michelle on our team. And then very quickly, it became this concept of these are two different services. We have coaching, and then we have the branding and website design department. So I said to Michelle, your strengths are in organizing, building processes. This is a lot. Everything that we're doing And there's no way for me to do both. So can you please make a process for this? I trust you. Take it on as your own. Make it your baby, create a process, and then you and Adrian can handle this and I'll work on coaching. So that's how it happened. And then over the years, as we just started scaling and growing, we added team members in different roles. And I always try to add team members that have different strengths and talents, and so that everyone has their own little genius zone within our company. And then we added social media management. So it's just been an evolving company as we've gone over time.
And I can say from firsthand experience, I'm the newest team member of Erica Powell. And maybe not so new because it's been a couple of months now. But
it feels like forever though, doesn't it?
I know. And we were friends before I joined.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed about your company is just how close everyone is. Like you built this culture where people can be transparent with you. It's not like if someone was in a regular corporate job, they have fear or there's some sort of hierarchy between their boss and their employees. But for you, you feel more like a friend. You check in on us. You say, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can help out with?
Yeah.
How do you feel about having a culture like that?
I think for me, it's essential because no matter what level we're at with our business, we are always busy. Just having a service business in general, it's always like that. You're always balancing client service with handling, running, growing the business on the back end. And so for me, I learned very quickly that your team is your freedom. And if you hire people that are smarter than you, stronger than you, better than you at the job that they're doing, then you can fully delegate to them and trust that it's going to come out better than if you did it yourself. So that's my leadership style, is that I spend a lot of time trying to find the right people. If I see somebody like you that is out there in the world and I'm like, oh my gosh, she would be so perfect, then I will try to work that person into the company. I just think that it's important to have the right people around you who are really, really good at what they do. And that leads to a lot of respect on our team because each team member knows what the other person's zone of genius is. They fully respect it and we stick together. The other thing that's really important is that our entire team has this hacker mentality that if we don't know how to do it, we will learn it, we will figure it out, and we will work on it until it gets done. And so just because of that culture, I feel like we can all trust each other and know that if someone has a project, that it's in the best hands for that piece.
Yes. And I love that because just from me speaking from working with all of the team members, everyone is self-led.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They all have their own zone of geniuses, as you said, and we all trust each other, which is so important in a company, especially with scaling, and we believe in your vision.
Yeah, and we have team members that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and it's just really fun to see the span. And just at this moment, we're all women, just to see everybody's strengths and the way that they work and the way that they have certain things that they're amazing at. I just never get tired of our team. I just love them all. But it hasn't always been that easy. We've had some people come and go over the years. And sometimes as a service business owner, it's really hard to lose someone and then find a replacement, especially if it's urgent. So I think we've done a really good job of keeping the people that are right over time and making sure I try very hard to take care of our team as best as I can and make sure everybody's happy and has what they need too.
And you do a great job at it, by the way.
Thanks. I try. Yeah. I just feel like we're a family. So it's important to me that everyone has what they need.
Yeah. Whenever you describe the company, even though it is your name, like Erica Powell Co, you always say it's our company.
Always.
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Because I couldn't do it without you guys. Like at the end of the day, every single person who has a role on our team is so essential. Absolutely. And I've always tried to think of our business like that. I think of us as a family. I think of us as having a very strong culture. And it's just really important to me to have a place of empowerment, freedom for people to be able to set their own hours, work their own schedule. All of that is just really important to me.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to touch on is for anyone who is watching right now that is maybe trying to build a team and have the same type of culture, how is it that you attract talent in your team?
That's an awesome question. So we actually don't attract talent at all. We find it. I taught Sophia how I recruit. I was actually only a corporate recruiter for 3 months. And so it doesn't really register to me that that's a thing that I did. But I did learn a lot about finding, interviewing, hiring people. And what I learned is the more I would say hire someone because it was someone's friend, it never ended up being what I needed as a business owner, because if your team cannot do the job that they are hired to do with full expertise, you cannot trust the team. So in order to have a team that you can trust, that you say is self-led, that I know if I give you a project, I don't need to look over your shoulder and check on it, you need to have the right people. If you don't have the right people, you will never have that kind of freedom.
Right.
Just through experimenting with hiring team members over the years, trying different things, I learned how important it is not to just hire anyone and to really make sure you're hiring the right person for the right job. So I built this whole recruiting system that I use called the Smart Recruiting System that takes a lot of things into account. Basically, not just does someone have the skills to do the job. In fact, that's the last thing I look at. I actually look at what are someone's ethics? What are their morals? Do we have values that match? Do we have a common vision? And so I always look in 3 levels. The visionary level is the first one. Can we see eye to eye on the big picture? Do we have a common long-term goal? Can I see us working together forever? Maybe you have your own side hustle, your own business, but are we still together for the long term? And so for me, if someone's not there on the big picture level, then immediate no, right? That's not going to work. Then there's the strategic, like, okay, we know what our vision is. Can we agree on a strategy? And can we meet on the right strategy to get us there faster as a team? And then the tactics, like we know what our strategy is. What do we have to do on a day-to-day basis in order to get there? That combined with ethics, morals, values, the way people show up, their level of responsibility, these are all things I consider. And so you might be thinking, but you never asked me about any of that, right?
Because we came in, we already had some rapport.
Yep, we already knew each other.
We already knew each other. And then you DM'd me and you were like, hey, you want to come work on my team?
Yeah. So in your case, it was a bit different. But for the most part, when we need to fill a role, we recruit for that role.
Yeah.
So Sophia and I make a very detailed behavioral-based application that basically negates the need for an interview. What a lot of people do is they'll just put out a job and then they'll collect all these resumes and then they'll just interview everyone, and then you get really overwhelmed and you don't know who's who and it's just a hot mess.
Yeah.
So instead, I put a lot of time into the behavior-based application. There's questions that say, if this came up, how would you handle it? So I'm really looking for decision-making skills more than technical skill, because technical skills can be trained. As long as you're tech savvy, you can learn how to use the software. Even the question we have on there, how if we smash our sales goals for the month, how are we going to celebrate? I'm looking for people who want a spa day, a dinner out, because I'm not going to go drinking on the town. Like, it's just not my style, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if we can find people that align just in the way that we are, the way we want to be, the same vision, same strategy, same tactics, we're good to go. And then I know that skills can be refined and built over time.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, and then by the way, just to finish out that process, once we have the application, we put it into a traffic source like Indeed or another platform to collect applications. We send all of our applicants through the application. And then once we have all the applications, we read through them. And Sophia and I usually do this together. We read through them all, and then we choose the top 3 to interview.
Oh.
So rather than interviewing 10 people and not remembering who's who, we only meet with the top 3.
Wow.
And then we make a decision based on just overall match. And then, of course, at that point, there's always the chance that something's not going to work out. And then if someone doesn't work out, I will know immediately within about a month. And then I just have to make the decision and have the hard conversation, usually.
Wow. So that's really the key to creating this type of culture. And that makes sense because everyone on the team gets along. We are like a family.
Yeah. And as the newest team member, you haven't seen us do all of that, early on in the year. Before you came in, Savannah had come in. So we just went through that process for Savannah.
Which is amazing. So
I mean, you can tell from the application. You really can. You can tell immediately. So
I love this. I love that we're talking about this backstories because our team is spread out throughout so many different places, right? I know I'm the only Canadian, but we have all the other team members spread out across the U.S.
Yep. Adrian's in Connecticut. Michelle's in Florida. Bye, puppies.
Bye.
Savannah and Brinley just got home. Jenna is in Indiana. You're in Canada. Savannah is here. Sophia is here. I'm here. I think we're all just spread out a bit, but I do try to keep the core team that's nearby in case I need help behind the scenes. Like Savannah is so helpful every single day. And Sophia is just like a quick jaunt away. It's important to have some people close by. And then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me as much where the rest of our team is because it's based on your genius zone and your skills. I feel like there are certain people who are just unicorns. And if I meet a unicorn like you, it doesn't matter to me if you're in Canada or anywhere else. We can find a way to make it work because we're a digital company. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to shift into your entrepreneurship journey a little bit more. I'm wondering, knowing what you know now, having gone through these 3 successful businesses and being where you are, what is the one thing that you would tell yourself when you were first starting your entrepreneurship journey?
I love that question. First things first, if something doesn't work for you, change it immediately. If a business model doesn't work and the way you're serving doesn't work, a team member doesn't work, software doesn't work, change it right away. So you have to give things some time and space to see. Sometimes there's a learning curve or you have to understand it. The longer you hold on to things that don't work, the longer you keep yourself stuck. For me, just embracing change as needed has been really helpful. And I have had many business coaches over the years, and all of them I've learned such invaluable lessons from. One of them is Laura Wright. And Laura said to me, because there was a point where I was talking to her and saying that I'm evolving my business and I'm afraid that when I go to the next level, I'm not going to like what's there. I'm not going to like how my life looks at that level. And so she said to me, Erica, you're the one who's evolving. You're the one who's making the decision all along the way. So she said, as long as you hold on to the things that you love and let go of the things that don't work for you, you're always going to evolve in a direction that you love. And that always stuck with me. So I make a big point out of always doing that. Keep the things that work, that I love, that light me up, and let go of the things that don't. And as fast as possible is best. Because the longer you do something that isn't working, the more frustrated or stressed you'll be.
Right. And I love that you went into mentorship because that's another thing that you talk about that is so important. I heard on one of your master classes that you are always going to be learning.
Always.
No matter what age you are, no matter what stage you are in your business. Why is learning so important for you?
I just feel that at every stage of your business, there are new challenges that require new solutions. And I think that as human beings, we know what we know, and what we don't know can hurt us.
Right.
I guess. So for me, I've just made the decision that maybe I don't always have a coach. Maybe there are moments where I don't. But for the most part, I do always have at least one coach. It is not inexpensive. I'm aware of that. But I always choose somebody that has strengths that I need. That I need to learn. So right now I'm working with Mary Morgan and Michael Edwards, and I love it both with my whole heart. Mary is very about sales, scaling, expansion, strategy. We are very similar in the way that we look at expansion and all of these types of things, but she is so much stronger on marketing than I am. I do a really, really good job with marketing our clients' business, but when it comes to our own, the showing up, the understanding how to be on camera, I feel like we're just a really good match for working together. And one thing I love about her is she always says that she works with leaders. So there's never like this teacher-student feeling. It's always we're in this together. We have different strengths. She inspires me. I always learn something new, but we're walking together. And I love that so much about her. We've both done a lot of insane things with our business. We're both smart in our own right, but she has strengths that I don't have. And then Michael Edwards, I've been working with for the last 6 weeks now. He is unbelievable. He and Mary have been working together in a mastermind that I'm a part of. And he does a lot of rapid transformation therapy. He does hypnotherapy work. We just call it the Michael Magic, because he has a background in therapy work. He's evolved into doing energy work, and he is just unbelievable. So I feel like the combination of Mary and Michael is really perfect for me and where I am right now.
How do you find coaches? Like, what is your process on finding a good coach?
That's an awesome question, because I have worked with coaches that were not a good match for me in the past. Signing up for a mastermind, with a coach who was excellent at selling her own programs, but who wasn't great at teaching others how to do the same. There was this promise of blowing up your business in the first piece when she sold us in. And then as I was in that with 40 other women, a lot of us found that her methods would not work for us. And so even myself, Jonathan and I went through tremendous hardships with that program, and it ended up being a very bad experience. And that was my first coach.
Oh, wow.
So I hear it, like I know, because people have had bad experiences before. It's very important for me as a coach to make sure that people have what they need, they're taken care of, that if I make a promise, that there's a way for them to get the result that they want because of that experience. For me, you either win or you learn. I always go in understanding that they might not be what they said they were, because I already had that experience, but that there's something I can learn from it. And I did learn some things from her that were valuable to me. It just wasn't what I needed at the time. I always make sure to pay really close attention to testimonials, what other people are saying about that coach, but I also know it's a risk with any coach. But I also know that my success doesn't just depend on that coach. My success really depends on me and the way I show up and what I do. And so I understand that this person is a guide and a mentor, and they're going to give me strategies. They're going to give me techniques. They might not be the right match for me. I've signed up for several masterminds where I've gone through the entire thing, done everything step by step, finished everything, only to realize that system doesn't work for my business. So it's very similar to finding a team member. I think now what I do is I just do my due diligence. I've had experiences before that I didn't get what I needed out of a coaching program. This is what I'm looking for now. Is that included in your program? This is how I want to work with a mentor. Is that something you do? And so I'm asking those kinds of questions before I make a decision.
So being transparent with your goal, saying this is what I want.
This is where I'm at.
Right. Yep. And then seeing if they can meet where you're at.
Yep. And this is what I want to learn. This is where I'm stuck. This is how I know I do best with a coach. And I don't regret $1, even though it's been a lot of money that I've invested on coaching, even with the coach that wasn't the right fit for me. Because again, you can learn so much. You either win or you learn. You learn what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And education is invaluable. And if I didn't work with that coach early on in my career, maybe I wouldn't realize how I didn't want to be.
That's so powerful.
I think it's important. And it made me realize the importance of making a promise to somebody.
So you do coaching.
I do, yeah.
And what is the process like for people? Like, how do you make your client's experience with you just so amazing?
Yeah, so we have several coaching programs. We actually have 3. So the way I guide people to know which program is the best for them is if they need a lot of very deep work, where it doesn't make sense to be doing that in a group environment. We're building a system or a process in their business. We're working on mindset stuff very deep. They need to structure or hire an entire team. They want to go behind the scenes and look at dollars and cents and profitability and work on pricing. That is when it makes sense to go into private coaching. I have had some clients that I've been doing private coaching with since I started as a brand new business coach, and they've stayed with me every single year that whole time, now 7 years. And I think that it's important to note that if you really have a coach that gets you, the long-term relationship can be so powerful, just like what I'm doing with Mary now. She knows when I'm going through a bad moment. She knows when I'm about to take off because she's seen me go through it all before. And so I think that's the value too with our clients who I work with for years is I see when they're about to go through a dip, or I see when they are about to take off, and I can tell them, you remember when this happened last year, this is what we did, and this is what we're going to do. Private coaching, it's not for everybody. Obviously, the price point makes it so it's not always possible for everyone. And so I've tried to build solutions at different price points so that if somebody wants what we're teaching, that they can have access to that at different price points that are comfortable for them. So sometimes we'll have someone, they're coming in, they need private coaching right away. Or sometimes we have someone who comes in, they're still a newbie, so they need to start somewhere else and work their way up to it. Sometimes they start in the mastermind and then move up to private coaching. So at the end of the day, I have different price points that can work for just about anyone. Yeah.
Wow. And I love that you have the different price points as well. And one of the questions I actually wanted to ask related to that is, we know that you work with a lot of high luxury clients. And so a lot of people might be intimidated by what luxury means.
I love that question. You didn't even ask it yet, but I love it.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Go for it.
So what does luxury mean to you?
It's an amazing question. I think luxury is a very polarizing word. There are a lot of people that do not want to be perceived as a luxury because they think that a luxury service has to be harder work. Then there are some people who think, I want to be luxury because I want to charge premium pricing. I want to serve at a very high level. And so this word means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So for me, when I think of luxury, I usually actually think of high end rather than luxury, because luxury can be so on or off for most people. And when I think of high end, I think of things like quality. I believe that when you charge at the highest level that you're able to charge, you're able to provide more of a service. My goal with most of our clients, there is the whole thing of volume, like I need more clients, and that's one thing. The other goal is, let me help you grow to your highest potential so that you can take on less clients and still have a higher profit margin. You can serve the fewer clients that you have better and essentially take care of them more. So that's the way I think of it. But when I think of luxury, the Ritz-Carlton, why the Ritz versus a 3-star hotel? It's the idea of being cared for. I walk in the door. It was a hot day. They hand me a water. How have you been today? Here's a champagne. It's just this other level of service. Mrs. Powell, can we help you to your room with your bags? And so I feel there's this level of service, politeness. Luxury to me is being taken care of.
Yeah.
For someone to anticipate your needs and not just meet your needs. For someone to exceed your expectations and not just meet your expectations. But in order to deliver in that way, you need to charge more than average, because if you charge less than average or average and deliver more, you will end up not being able to grow or scale your business because you're overgiving and undercharging. That math does not work out and you'll end up broke.
Gosh.
So for me, luxury is going to the Ritz-Carlton. They'll clean your room twice in one day. Going to a 3-star hotel, they'll clean your room once every few days.
Right.
So it's just a difference in a level of service. It's a level of care and attention, and that's how I like to think about it. Or like in the way of my car, just to say my Cayenne, I love my Cayenne. Porsche has its own mentality when it comes to building like cars. It's about safety. It's about timelessness. It's about power. And in fact, if you look up Porsche ads, they're some of my favorite ads. It says something like, I was planning on flying, but I end up driving and I flew anyway, or I'm headed to the grocery store and I picked up a gallon of adrenaline along the way, right? So it's a mindset. It's a culture. Driving a Porsche, the minute you put your foot on the gas, you go. There's no hesitation. You know you're safe. You've got the world-class safety at your fingertips. I mean, here in Texas, you're driving with all the big trucks that you saw. So safety is important. Texas, it's hot as hell this summer. We've been between 110 and 120.
Yeah.
Having air-conditioned seats is important to me. So it's not just that it's expensive. That's not why I like it. I have this one little Prada bag. It's a little tiny camera bag. It's hot turquoise. And I was looking for a small bag, but I wanted one that was unique. So I found this one and I wear it every single day because it's such high quality, but it's sturdy. I love it. I get compliments on it everywhere I go. So I think to me, luxury is not about expensive. It's not about fancy. It's not about bougie. It's about exceeding expectations, providing an experience. It's about doing things differently than everyone else, which is why I love Porsche and all their ads and stuff like that. I just think they really hit the nail on the head. The Porsche Cayenne is, for me, a match because I do want a gallon of adrenaline on my way to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So I just think there's individuality and luxury and the products that are created with thoughtfulness and services that are done with thoughtfulness and anticipation of needs. And so that's how I think of luxury.
Wow. And we know that your company focuses on that. as well. Very high end. When people come to you, they expect that you're going to fulfill the promise that you give them, that the services that you give is catered for them. It's with a lot of thoughtfulness.
Yes. And many times I have to remind people, because people, when they make a good investment and they put a lot of money into something, they expect quality in return, but they also subconsciously expect speed. Like when it's a custom service, like a custom brand or a custom website, we're not going to cut corners. We have a process. We have a step-by-step process. Every single step is there for a reason. If we remove it, the quality of the work is going to be less than what it could have been. And so I always remind our clients, this is not just an investment. This is a long-term asset for your company. This is going to serve you while you're sleeping. You're going to have a brand that's working for you while your head is on the pillow. You're going to get an inquiry from a high-end client. And so I say, we have to do it right. We'll go as fast as we can, but we have to dot every I and cross every T, because if not, you're going to end up with something that's less than what I want for you. And so there's always that line of fast versus getting it done properly. And so I think we push the line as closely as we can. It's going to be something that serves them for many, many years. I think that's really important, especially if it's a brand or a website, it's working for you every day.
Exactly. And it's the first impression that people get.
First impression, and it is the decision between reaching out to you or not. So we cannot cut corners. We can move fast. I mean, we've done brands and websites very, very quickly, but we need our clients to go through those steps. And so when somebody says, oh, I want it quickly, I want it yesterday, I always say, cool, you can have it fast. The speed is going to depend on you. We have steps. If you want it quickly, go through those steps as fast as possible. And that's the fastest way to get it done. I'm not going to skip steps and then give you an inferior product.
Exactly. And that's a big part of your brand as well.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Is that you're always fulfilling. You make sure that things are even more than what the client
Absolutely.
expects.
I think that people are used to getting things done fast, but then what they don't realize is their last fast website did not get them the result that they wanted, or we wouldn't be talking right now.
Right.
So if I'm going to show someone at their highest potential, if we're going to build something that really allows someone to shine, if that piece is going to magnetize all of their future dream clients, the people that they really, really, really want to work with, it has to be aligning on so many levels. The tech has to be up to the highest standard, the newest technology, cutting edge tech possible. The design has to be cutting edge. We really need people to stand out, and it has to be so them. It's not like we're just taking a template and recycling it and we're popping in images. We're building every pixel custom for every client. So
yes.
Definitely a different level of service for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's high quality.
But
right?
that's what gets the results. At the end of the day, one of the things I love doing with our clients is while that's all going on, if we're working and coaching too, we can work on the sales process. Because the same business owner that maybe had, I call them penny pinchers and average inquiries before that website, we've now unlocked this whole next level of people to reach out to them. They're true dream clients, people that really align with them, that see the value in their work, that really understand what makes each person stand apart. And so if your website is here, you're only going to get inquiries here and here below. But if your website is here, now we've added this whole segment of clients that you didn't even have access to before.
Wow.
So if we're here, we're going to get these inquiries, we're going to get these inquiries, we're going to get these inquiries always. But then we need to sort all of those inquiries and to prioritize them quickly, be able to move through maybe people who are not a fit very fast, get on the phone with people who are the right fit right away. So I always say if someone wants to totally overhaul, renovate, work on that next highest level, that they should be working on both branding and website design, and then investing in working on their sales process with us, because you go from here to here and you're unlocking all these people. High-end clients don't buy the same way that average and penny pinchers clients buy. So the same process that works for these people and these people does not work for these people. But this process works for everybody. So usually we're installing that very high-end sales system into, and it doesn't take a long time. That doesn't. That's like For me, I'm like, okay, if we can get all these things, your brand, your website, your sales process, now we've unlocked the next level of your business. And then after that, then we get to play with team building, all of those things. So,
I love that we're seeing so
and
many.
scaling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that we're seeing so many sides of you today in this interview. Like
there's a lot in there.
But like, this is what the team sees too. Right?
Yeah.
Like we get to see your playful side, the
Yeah.
fun side, and then we
the
show
serious
up.
side.
Yeah.
This is something we teach about in coaching, and we teach about in our Rich and Joyful Entrepreneur program when it comes to high-end selling techniques, is that it all starts with you as far as your energy goes. And actually, this happens early for most business owners. Let's say their website is not up to par and they're getting inquiries that are like that average or the penny pincher, that type of thing. They're getting few inquiries. They're very few and far between. That means that every single lead, they are like almost begging to close them because they know they're not going to get that many leads. And so in that space of a service business, people have this scarcity mindset. And the thing that's almost impossible is that people will feel it. You don't have to say anything. They just know in how you're acting that you're almost desperate and that you need their business. And so for me, one of the shifts that we teach when it comes to sales process is understanding that in the first place. And then how to understand that this is a two-way interview. You're interviewing this client, they're interviewing you. The energy has to match. But if we do the right things to boost our inquiries, if we put that powerful brand in place, the powerful presence, the website, we go from having those few and far between leads that are of a lower quality to having basically some of my clients are fire hosed with leads. So some of our clients get up to 60 to 100 inquiries per month.
Wow.
And some of our 7-figure clients, their biggest struggle is sorting through all of the leads that they get and making sure that they don't miss anyone. So there's a very different shift that happens at that point. But if you can imagine at that point, what also happens is that each client, yes, they're important, but you also don't feel that desperation energy at that point anymore. That's when you can really choose, is this person the right fit for me? Is this someone I really want to work with? And that's when you have the ability to choose. As far as the energy goes, though, it's how you show up. It's how you talk to the new client. It's whether they feel desperation or whether they feel abundance from you. And so I never push my potential new clients to sign faster, any of these things. If it's meant for them, we're going to work together. And I know that. It's just going to happen. So it's a mindset shift. A lot of the training that we do with mindset and talking about that like high-end sales process has to do with that. And I think as far as the money magnet energy, it's all related. And to not feel that desperate energy, to not feel that lack energy, you also need to take care of yourself. And I know that's what you're originally asking about. So whereas a lot of entrepreneurs fall into that desperate, I just need more business, or the hustle zone, like we were talking about before, the way to show up with, I actually usually say $1 million money magnet energy is that we're showing up as the highest version of ourselves. So how do we do that? We are taking care of ourselves. We are eating well. We are sleeping well. We are prioritizing our work. We are not living in the workaholic hustle zone. We are taking care of our bodies, whether that means doing fitness stuff, whatever we're doing. And we are coming from a place that I'm okay whether you sign with me or not.
Right.
When the client feels that and they see how you act, how you show up, the way you are, they buy that. And so it doesn't matter what we're selling and it doesn't matter what the price is. In fact, I just met a potential client a couple months ago, and my proposal to them was a $150,000 proposal where they needed every single thing that we had. And that person told me, I knew I wanted to work with you before you even said a word.
Wow.
It's because of walking in with confidence. I walked into that property. It was a property that needed marketing and branding, and I already knew I could do it. I knew I was someone who could take their business to the next level. So I wasn't walking in there sweaty palms, freaking out, like, are they going to like me, not like me? I'm like, they will choose. If they like me or they don't like me, either way, I can do this.
Right.
If I'm for them or I'm not for them, we're going to find out. But I'm not going to come in here freaking out whether I'm the one for them or not. I just am. If they choose me, then they'll find that out. And people see that about me when I walk into a room. I'm very calm. I'm not like a bounce off the walls kind of person. I'm an introverted person, but I have an unspoken confidence because I don't get nervous in those situations. I get nervous on stage, but if you put me to talk with a bunch of high-end people in a small group, in a networking event, privately, I'm not going to be freaking out. And so I think it's the detachment from the need to close the sale, which makes you have the $1 million money magnet energy. If I need to close that sale, they're going the other way. So if I show up with confidence, and then I use the strategies and techniques, of course, that I teach, because there's a lot of them. Like, it's not just having great energy and then going. But that's a big piece of the puzzle. And then when you layer in all of those techniques and strategies that are very simple, you just need to learn them in the first place. You just need to unlock the lingo, the right things to say it, the how to follow up. When you unlock all of those techniques and strategies, it just makes you a magnet for that type of client.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is part of that also showing up genuinely? Because I know that is a strength of yours. You're able to show up genuinely. Like what you guys see here, where we're talking right now on the screen is the same thing as without the camera.
Same thing.
A lot of people feel maybe afraid
to
show up, especially when they're being so vulnerable and unlocking, sharing that part of themselves on the internet. And how do you do it without or despite feeling that people are going to judge you?
Yeah. So I think there's several levels of answers to this question, but the first thing is everybody gets nervous. I get nervous too. There's certain situations, if I'm on stage, I do get nervous. If I'm doing reels, I get nervous. If I'm doing YouTube, face to camera stuff, sometimes I get nervous. If I'm teaching live, I don't get nervous because I'm in my zone. So I think to just understand we're all human, we all have emotions, we all have certain things that make us more nervous than not. But the only way to go to the next level is what we were talking about before, education, mentorship. It's important to just know that we all have those frustrations. We all have those nerves. We all have that. But the more that you do things, the more comfortable you get with them. And again, like I told you, I invest in learning how to get past those points that are my limiting points. So if I know that I'm struggling with something, that's when I find a mentor with that so that I can learn how to overcome that over time. Sometimes it's quick and I learn fast, and sometimes it takes me some time. And I just give myself that grace to know I'm actively working on this, and I know that the more I work on it, the better I'll get.
All part of that self-development, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. So I want to step into the shoes of future Erica. And I know you said you're not going to retire, but let's just say at the end of your entrepreneurship journey,
okay,
what is the legacy that you hope to leave behind?
Absolutely. So at this point, we've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs. And so for me, that is so rewarding. In fact, many times when I want to give up or business gets really hard and I want to check out, it's the testimonials, it's the clients' success stories that always remind me that this is why I'm doing what I do. Everything that I've learned, done, tried, experienced in my career has all led me here. So there are moments that we all get super overwhelmed and we're like, that's it, I'm checking out. But those success stories are the things that keep me moving. Just knowing that I'm making an impact, whether it's one person, 10 people, 100 people, me being able to affect change and improve people's lives with them, co-create a new reality, make a new life, a new business that didn't exist before, improve the things that don't feel good to somebody, help them design their life to be something that they enjoy more every day, help them to reach that level of success that they want. That to me just fills my entire soul with joy. So for me, the biggest challenge has been, how do I do that for more people? If I'm doing this for tens and hundreds of people, how do I do this for thousands and even millions of people? And so that's my own personal journey of self-development. How do I learn how to show up on a larger scale, make a larger impact, to help more people? The things that we've been working on this year of scalability and making sure that our programs are designed to hold more people, but also give an equal amount of support regardless of whether there's more people in there. That's something we've been working a lot on this year. I think opening the YouTube channel has been really big. We talked about before, private coaching is not for everyone price point wise. So I've been really making an effort to pull out pieces that we can give away for free, things that can help people be successful just from something free, help them get a change, an impact, a shift that will bring them to their next level so that working with us becomes an easy next step. And so for me, that's what I'm really working on now. That's the now part. How do we reach more people? How do we help more people? How do we give people a space and make sure that they feel cared for and taken care of? And that's what a lot of what the Rich and Joyful Entrepreneur is there for. It can hold unlimited people. We can help unlimited people. And our team will just grow on the back end to make sure that we can help people. So I feel like that's where we are now. And then our next phase right now, we're building all the ways to help people on a larger scale. We're creating free opportunities, inexpensive opportunities, more high touch programs where people can work with us really directly. And so for me, just having that availability at different price points is really important. And then as we continue to grow, just being able to help more people within those different pieces of our business. So branding, website design, coaching, having the different coaching programs, that's really important to me. And also the dual focus of not just only working on business. It's not just about business. People that run businesses are people. And I really want people to build a life that they love and not just a successful business.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Erica.
And you're with me on the journey. So
and I'm looking forward to future Erica and meeting her too.
Oh, me too. She evolves every day, you know.
Just thank you so much for this.
Oh, absolutely.
And is there any other projects that you're currently working on, or at least a sneak peek that you would like everyone to know about?
Okay, everybody. So we've been renovating the Rich and Joyful Entrepreneur program. It's ready for enrollment. So that is something that we're really excited about. That's a program that we've built that everyone can jump into regardless of the level of success they're experiencing currently. If you want to work with us, just know that we have multiple price points. We have multiple solutions. We have things that are reasonable, things that are more high touch and one-to-one. If you're interested in working with us in any of those ways, we will help you figure out what makes sense. So just pop us a DM on Instagram. You'll probably be talking to Larissa or me. If you want to have more, be more. If you want to build a business that's more successful than you have now. If you want to reach your next level, if you want to reach your highest potential, we're here for you. So thank you so much for asking me all these great questions, Larissa.
No problem. And thank you so much for just taking the time to really connect with our audience, for taking the time to sit down, have this interview, let our audience get to know a little bit more about you.
The lady behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun.
Me too. Thank you so much, Larissa. We'll see you all soon. Bye, guys. Bye.